Ma, ma, ma. Adults, please join. Ma, 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 Welcome, everyone, to this very auspicious day. And for those of you who are here for the first time, and I know there's a couple of you, welcome. You've chosen an auspicious day to come. I will tell you that most Sundays are not like this one's going to be, but this is going to be just a wonderful time, and we're so glad you're here. My name is Haju, and I am a Dharma teacher here. So today, we are celebrating our senior teacher, Haju student's 80th birthday. You know, I know some of you are 10. That would be like a lot. Yeah. We're so happy that she's here, and we're so happy that you are here. So we're going to start the service the way we start all of our family service. We're going to all do 3 prostrations. And if you're someone who is challenged and cannot do prostrations, full prostrations, you always can just bow. And you can either do that or you can bow from your seat. But for those of us who can do prostrations, let's all rise now and we'll do 3 prostrations. And those of you up here who know how to do prostrations, come help me and show other people. Okay, come on, Lil. Show me out. Help me out. Okay, so we bow, our hands in Hap Chung of sincere heart. We get down on our knees. We look at the Buddha, and we go down with our foreheads to the ground. Hands up, palms up, facing the sky. Come back to our feet again. Good job. Okay, number 2, same thing. And number 3. Forehead touching the ground, hands up. And then this time we kneel. We don't come right back up. Look at the Buddha. And we come back down. One more time. We come up and still in Hap Chung. And we bow. Good job, everyone. Now, we are going to sit quietly in meditation for 5 minutes. We know that meditation is very important to the Buddha, and meditation is also very important to Haju. So we're going to sit quietly for 5 minutes. And when I ring the bell, it's the end of our meditation together. Okay, I'm going to ring the bell to start. And I want you to focus on your breath. Focus, if you want to, you can look at the carpet patterns, or you can focus on the beautiful scenery, but we're going to keep silence for 5 minutes. Feel the breath coming in your nostrils, down to your lungs, into your body. When you exhale, breathe out, feel the air coming out. We're so grateful for our breath. Keep focusing, you're almost there. Hands in Haju, sincere heart, let's bow. Okay, the next part of our service, those of you who've been here before know, and that is we say the three refuges together for Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So we're all going to stand up for this part, if we're able to stand up. Okay, let's put our hands in Hapchang again. And let's repeat after me. And maybe I'm going to play them off. Okay, repeat after me now. Buddha, the awakened one.
Buddha, the awakened one.
The awakened heart in us all.
The awakened heart in us all.
And the living force of peace.
And the living force of peace.
May I take refuge in the Buddha.
May I take refuge in the Buddha.
Dharma.
Dharma.
The teachings of the Buddha.
The teachings of the Buddha.
Moral discipline and wisdom.
Moral discipline and wisdom.
May I take refuge in the Dharma.
May I take refuge in the Dharma.
Sangha.
Sangha.
The happy and joyous community.
The happy and joyous community
Of all living beings.
of all living beings.
May I take refuge in the Sangha.
May I take refuge in the Sangha.
everyone. You can take your seats now. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys are so far away, I can hardly see you. Can you come a little closer, please? We can be together. Come on, Roro. Come on up. All right, thanks. Good. This is so much better. All right, I have the distinct honor of introducing the birthday girl today. Yeah. I'm going to tell just a mini story to introduce her, and I'm going to talk about how Haju got her name. Yeah. Okay, long ago, far away, in a little fishing village in British Columbia, there was born a little girl, and her dad was a fisherman, and her mom and dad named her Linda. Yeah, and Linda ate a lot of fish. Who here likes fish? Oh, I don't see every hand, but imagine she ate a lot of fish. So Linda lived in British Columbia. She went to school there, and then she went to college there. And so she graduated from college, and she became a teacher. She was a teacher in British Columbia. And she happened to meet. Did she teach her to eat fish? Well, I don't think. Well, she probably did informally. Yeah. I don't know about cleaning and all that. I just don't know. I've never asked her that. But so the important thing is, Linda was teaching, and she was known as Miss Murray. Yeah. So the students called her Miss Murray because that was her last name. All right. So Miss Murray was doing a good job teaching, really liking it. And she happened to meet a nice young fellow named Mr. Hadfield. Mr. Hadfield really fell for Linda Murray. And so he courted her. And then one day, she became Mrs. Hadfield. So this is her third name. She was Linda, she was Miss Murray, and now she was Mrs. Hadfield. So you have to count with me. So that's 3 names. And so she taught in British Columbia as Miss Hadfield. And you know what she and her husband loved to do other than eating fish? They love to go skiing. And I tell you, the mountains in British Columbia make Michigan's mountains look like peanuts. So they went skiing all the time. And Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield was a really good skier. Really good. Except one day she was on the black diamond slope, really, really pushing it. And what happened? She went flying, and she somersaulted in the air, and she landed in the snow, and she broke her leg. Broke her leg. She went to the doctor in British Columbia, Dr. Peabody. Dr. Peabody treated her leg and said, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Hadfield, Miss Murray, Linda. You will never walk without a limp." And Linda, Miss Murray, Miss Hadfield said, "I'm sorry, Dr. Peabody. I do not accept that as an answer." So she did a lot of research, and she discovered something that could help her not have a limp. Does anyone know what that was? Some of you probably. I don't think that would help with the limp. That would help you stay awake. So anyway, what she discovered was yoga. Yeah. Who here has heard of yoga? Has everybody? All right. I've heard of yoga. Yep. But back then in the 1960s, not too many people had heard of yoga. And so she was on the cutting edge of yoga work. And she loved yoga. She found she really had a calling. And you know what it had helped her with too? Linda Miss Murray, Mrs. Hatfield, was a seeker. And so she was seeking for a deeper truth in life. And so yoga was something she felt helped her with that. So then she and Mr. Hatfield moved to Toronto. They're living in Toronto. But after a little bit, she was really into yoga. And she had a talk with Mr. Hatfield. And Mr. Hatfield was like, but I'm really into business. And she's like, well, I'm really into yoga. He's like, I'm really into business. Yoga, business. So they decided that they really liked each other, but they couldn't stay together because she had to follow her yoga and he had to follow his business. So then she's so into yoga. Do you know what she learned to do? I bet no one here can do this. Well, that, but she also learned to stand on her head without a wall or a person holding her. Maybe she will. I don't know. She can stand on her head without anyone helping her. And she was known, she went to California, so she got a yoga guru. And she met this other nice man by the name of Mr. Lundquist. Mr. Lundquist said, Linda, I really would like to get together with you. And so they did a lot together. And finally, they got married. So Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield became Mrs. Lundquist. So there we have it. Name number 4. All right. So they were both really into yoga and they got a yoga guru. You know what a guru is? That's like a teacher, but hardcore teacher. And so they were into it. And the teacher said, Linda, Miss Hadfield, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield, Mrs. Lundquist, I'm going to give you another name. So the name he gave her, this is so cool, Sivananda. Shivakami. 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 And do you know what Shivakami means? Well, it could have 2 meanings. The first is destroyer of desire. Yeah. And the other one I like is dragon slayer. So there she was, Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hatfield, Mrs. Lundquist, Shivakami. She just was flying with all of her names and really doing well. So one day they're in Toronto and she and Mr. Lundquist see on the wall of this coffee shop, you know, in the old days, they didn't have QR codes and stuff. So they had these little, like a piece of paper, and they would clip the bottom and put numbers on it. And so on this piece of paper said, Buddhist monk teaches meditation. And so, and it had all these little phone numbers. And so they ripped off the piece. And Mr. Lundquist said, give him a call. It might be fun to go do a little meditation with a Buddhist monk. So Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hatfield, Mrs. Lundquist, Shivakami called up this Buddhist monk. And he answered the phone. He's like, ring, ding, 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 ding. Hello? Hi. I'm calling. My name is, and then she stopped. She didn't want to. Never mind. And so she said, we're talking. We wanted to know what we do because it said it was from 5:30 a.m. to 11:30. And it's like, what do we do? Just sitting. So she's like, okay. Hung up the phone. Well, she runs back to Mr. Lundquist. It's sitting. And he's like, it can't just be sitting. What are you talking about? Call him back again. What's this about? It can't just be sitting. So ringy dingy 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 dingy. Hello. Yes. Really grumpy guy. Yes. And so she said, I'm just trying to get a sense of what we're going to be doing from 5:30 to 11:30. Just sitting. Okay, thank you. Goes back to Mr. Lundquist. Just sitting. So they talked about it, and there's more to this story, but I'm going to compress it. And so they end up going, and at that point, our girl, Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield, Mrs. Lundquist, Shivakami, She was a total hippie at this point. She had bell bottoms. She had can you imagine an afro cut? She had an afro haircut. And so they rode on a motorcycle and they went to this monk's place in Toronto on a motorcycle. And so what happens is they go in there and what do? Sit. And afterwards, Mr. Lundquist said, "Oh my God, I'm so sore. My knees are sore. My hips are sore. There's nothing in me that's not sore." And she said, "I really liked it." So they went back again and again. And indeed, the monk was pretty grumpy, but he also really liked Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield, Mrs. Lundquist, Shiva Kami. So after they'd been there a while, he said to her, "I really think you should become a Buddhist." And she said, "I really want to become a Buddhist." So he says, "I'm going to give you a name." So, oh my God, then she got a new name. So her new name was, we have Linda, Miss Murray, Mrs. Hadfield, Mrs. Lundquist, Shiva Kami, Dragon Slayer, destroyer of desires, and her new name was Sukha. So that was her next name, Sukha. And you know what Sukha means? Happiness. That was her meaning of her name. And she loved that name. And do you know what happened then? She became really happy. She became her name. And she lived here at this temple. She has lived here for 43 years. Imagine that. That's like 4 times your age. And so after a while, the grumpy monk, who was just kind of grumpy, but it didn't mean he didn't love her. You know, sometimes people could just be a little grumpy, but they really love you. And so he said to her, "I really love you. You're one of my top disciples, and I want you to carry my lineage forward. And I'm going to give you a new name, and this is going to be your name for life." And so what he gave her then was the name Haju. And that's what she said ever since. And do you know what Haju means? What Haju means is beyond wisdom. Yeah. And the end of Haju's 7 names. So right now, I am going to ask the birthday girl to come forward, and we're all going to sing happy birthday to her.
Can we pick one of the names to use?
Could you bring me up one of the cushions there?
Yeah.
Thank you. So sit here.
Dragons.
All right, so we're going to sing happy birthday in several languages, okay? The first one is the one we all know in English, okay? All right, let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Haju. Happy birthday to you.
All right, so now we have another song. This is a well, that's all. Are you 10? Are you 20? Are you 30? Are you 40? Are you 50? Are you 60? Are you 70? Are you 80? Could you pass these out? All right. We have another birthday song to sing, and we're going to be passing these out. Where are they? Could someone stand up and just pass them around? Not everyone can have one. Just like if every 2 or 3 people could share, then everyone will have one. So we're going to be singing the birthday song in Quebecois. So what we're passing now is sheets that have this birthday song, and it is in French, as the Quebecois are. So you see in bold letters the words, and below it that it is how to pronounce the words. And then on the side is what it means in English. Okay?
And when I had one birthday and I went to a member's house and they gave me a little custard and said, "Would you like a song in English or French?" a birthday song. And I said, French. So this is what and this is actually he wrote it out. It was actually Maitreya, one of our former members. So that's how now we sing it.
Yeah, I know the key music. Okay, so
Why don't you sing it through?
why don't a couple of us sing it through who know it? Joshua, do you know it? Saram, do you know it? Okay. All right, so I know it, so I'm gonna sing. I don't have a voice like Joe Riley, but I'm gonna try it. Mon cher Haju, c'est à ton tour. Toute la paix, avec amour. All right, let's all do it together. Mon cher Haju, c'est à ton tour. Toute la avec amour. So who in this area knows how to read and could read the English? Yeah, go ahead, Athena. Oh, yeah, right now, read it in English. Loud,
Sing it or
loud, so they can hear you in Michigan Stadium.
scream it.
Just, you don't have to sing it, just say it.
It says, my dear Haju, it is your turn to let yourself be spoken to of how much we love you.
Okay. So now we want to ask you all if you have happy birthday in other languages. Who here has another? Yes. Yeah.
Boldog születésnapot, kívánjuk, hogy legyen még sok ilyen szép napot.
Yes. Go.
생일 축하합니다.
I can do Polish.
100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyje, żyje nam. 100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyje, żyje nam. Jeszcze raz, niech żyje, żyje nam. Niech żyje nam. A kto? Haju.
Oh, it's okay. Would you please stand up?
Estas son las mañanitas que cantaba el rey David. A las muchachas bonitas se las cantamos así. Despierta, Haju, despierta. Mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajaritos cantan, la luna ya se metió.
Meow and me can sing a tune.
Yeah, I know.
You wanna come up here so that I'll sing it with you too. Okay, great.
Oh, go over beside them, Sanam. Sanam has come in from
祝你生
Seattle.
日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐。
I know we have a few German speakers. Anyone who can do it?
Where is Cohen?
I'll do it in Indonesian.
Okay.
panjang umurnya, panjang umurnya, panjang umurnya serta mulia, serta mulia, serta mulia.
Zum Geburtstag viel Glück, zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Alles Gute zum Geburtstag viel Glück.
Okay, unless there are any more languages in the house, I'm going to ask Kusun and other peace campers to help us in something that's a sort of birthday song.
Okay, can we do the, from Ilchu?
Sign language.
Oh,
Sign language.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. What's that, dear Haju? Happy birthday to you.
Oh, here's something. Lithuanian.
Well, it's a combination. We'll start with, today is the birthday I wonder for whom. We know it's for someone right here in this room. So look all around you for somebody who is smiling and happy. My goodness, it's you! Ilgausu matu, ilgausu, ilgausu matu, linkilma. Valo!
Okay, our final song today, Kusun, Peace Campers, we're going to sing the song that we do at the end of Peace Camp in the circle. And so if the Peace Campers can help lead this, okay? So you ready, Kusun?
Stand up if you've been to Peace Camp.
All right, so let's all who know it do it, and everyone else can join in, okay?
No one's standing?
Oh, we're standing. All right, let's stand. Stand up. It's more of a dance. It's more of a dance. You have to stand right here and dance around. Okay. Hey, Haju, we love you. Hey, Haju, we want you to know. Hey, Haju, we love you. Hey, Haju, we want you to know. There's a circle of love around you. There's a circle of love in your heart. There's a circle of melody around you. There's a circle of you around me.
Somebody asked me this morning, tell me about your best birthday. And I said, I think it's going to be this one. Thank you.
All right, so our next stage is going to be all of you kids. You have a very important job. There is a huge basket full of cards for Haju. Could you go back there and go? Oh, could we just have it up instead of just being right here and have them bring it up? Yeah. All right, so kids, go back there and get the basket.
I also put down there. Hello.
Okay, so we're gonna have a presentation of all the cards.
So then sing a Lithuanian song when they're bringing them up. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you. I almost touched it. Wow. Wow. I was looking last night because there were some that came in the mail and from all over the world. I'm really excited to read the messages. So thank you. All of you have been included.
So, and Haju Sunim, our entire Sangha pitched in, a lot of us, for a very special present to give to you and show you our love for you. And we're going to unveil it right now. And Mama, I hope you're ready at the ready. All right, so Magamut and Leah, I don't want to touch Joe's guitar, are going to help me to lift the cover off of this Sangha
Thank you.
gift. Mama is going to put in, oh my God. Oh, yeah. So I'll make a bow towards Jijong Bosal. This statue came all the way from Korea. You might remember that we had a Korean monk who lived with us, Waljong, and so when he went back to Korea, we asked him if he would look for a statue for us. He did.
It's a wonderful statue because that's the bodhisattva that represents what is in us that will go to wherever we need to go to be to go to hell even. And this ring, this staff has 6 rings on it. And it means the 6 parameters. So way up to 6 parameters, generosity, patience, energy, concentration, wisdom. So we go forth in our lives. So it's a statue for all of us. It's so good. Now we have the 3. This is the traditional statues that are on a Korean altar. And this is very different from a Korean altar. It's a much more formal one. But this is such a juicy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. All of you have contributed.
And if there's someone who'd still like to contribute, you can see Ma'o. So Haju Sunim, now we're going to start with our performances.
Okay.
By
Can I have my birthday hat?
yes.
Absolutely.
A long time ago in this very room, we had a bazaar of things from China. And because we were raising money for some poor people in Thailand. And I bought this from the thing, and we use it as our temple birthday hat, so that everyone has a birthday. We wear it for breakfast and everything.
All right, Mom's putting it on. Okay, so I thought you could introduce Joe.
Oh, I'm not sure that I need to introduce someone who I think most of you know. But one of the things about Joe that's wonderful is that he lived at the temple for some time. And when he left, we were sad to see him go. One of the things that we have to do is make sure the person really cleans their room and their bathroom if they have one. So he said, well, I'm ready to go, Haju. I said, I'll do some stuff. And he said, sure. So I went in and I looked, and the main part was good, but when I went to the bathroom, the bathtub, the toilet really needed some work. So I told him, please, get this done. So he said yes. And so then a little while later, he came back. Yes, it's done. So I said, can I answer? No. He said, sure. And I went back and again, it was not good. There was still scum in the toilet and especially on the bathtub. He hadn't cleaned it, I think, the whole time he was here. And so I said, no, I can't clean it again. So he, of course, the story is he cleaned it again. And I'm not sure if it took one more time. He been a wonderful assistant to our Salda, both at the and on special occasions. So you'll see if you haven't heard from her. Thank you so much for
In many ways, my practice is still trying to get the bathtub clean enough. So all of them.
You want to come and sit here?
Oh, no, I'll stand right here. I'm going to start with the song on the hand drums. And I'm going to introduce myself in my indigenous name. Haju, Gitawe, Nigaman, Anishinaakas, Cherokee, Choctaw, Indau, my Ingan Dodown, Wawa Atanang, and Donjaba. My name is Joe Riley. My Anishinaabe name means the one who sings around. Cherokee and Choctaw, also Italian and Irish. I live in Detroit, which is just like Ann Arbor, Anishinaabe land, home to the people of the three fires, Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. And that's the language I introduced myself in, Anishinaabe, the original language of this land. And so we want to recognize that we're on Anishinaabe land, and also Haju wanted to recognize that this original house where the temple was first located belonged to a Black family, and that this neighborhood historically was an African-American neighborhood here in Ann Arbor. So we want to recognize all of the ancestors who allow us to be here. And I'm going to sing a song that was given to me by an elder this summer in New Brunswick, which I didn't know that there was a time zone even farther east of the Eastern time zone. Her name is Maggie Paul. She's a wonderful singer and elder, and she shared this song with me. It's called the Creator Song. So it's kind of a prayer song. So I invite you, if you're able to stand, to do so. And if we could pause the recordings, it's okay to live stream, but just not record. And we can record this prayer song in our hearts for ourselves, for our ancestors, but also for our dear beloved teacher, Haju. Oh, yeah.